Good evening, everybody. How's it going? It's me, Comic Crack. Welcome to 2024 My Comic Shop order for this year. I had a bunch of credit at the shop, and then I had some money thanks to Colin and other people buying some art pieces that I've been doing. So I decided to fill in some gaps in my collection and kind of splurge on a couple of books. One specifically that I think was $38 just on its own, not stuff I would normally buy from my comic shop. I usually kind of stick around the $2.50 kind of range so I can get a lot of stuff. But this time I kind of paid a little more for a bunch of books. There was some $7 and $8 books as well too, mainly to fill in gaps. And there was stuff that came available. I always have a watch list going. I get emails once a day with kind of highlights of things that have come in that are part of my want list. So there was a couple of things available, and I figured I should jump on them all. So this was a really quick one. I think I ordered it on the 9th of this month. So that's what, a week, which is pretty damn good. So again, for those of you living in Canada, what was the shipping on this order? There was a total of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 24, 25, 26 books. One of those was kind of a graphic novel, and one was kind of magazine size, or maybe a little bit smaller than magazine size. And the total shipping to Canada was $39 US for all of that. So came in a week, which is great. So pretty good deal. I didn't get dinged at the border, which is great. I find that when I've ordered from them, if I order from them like 3 times during the year, 2 or 3 times, the chances that I'll get dinged on like that third order. I think there was one year that I did 3 orders in one year, and that third time is the only time I got hit with customs. But if you stick to kind of 1 or 2 orders a year, shipping across the border, you're pretty good where you don't have to get hit with anything else. But I'm surprised this is the quickest anything has ever come, actually. Normally it takes around that 10-day kind of window. So this was a nice surprise. So I figured we'd just kind of go through the books. I opened everything up and got everything ready just to kind of save us a bit of time. The only one that I didn't open yet, because I wanted to open it here, was they had a copy of Matt Howarth's Domes. This is the one it's not quite as tall as a magazine, but it's about as wide as a magazine. So this is from the 80s, 85 or 86. 1985, and the company is Fantasy Press, Phantasy, Denver, out of Denver, Colorado. So a nice, I'm not sure who's in this story. It looks like there's a Caroline in here. It looks like, I can't tell if that's Savage Henry or if that's supposed to be one of the Post brothers. Actually don't even know if that's a Caroline or not. So we'll see. I haven't obviously dug into this yet, but this will be one of the first things I read. It's been on my want list for a long time. And of course, those of you who are Canon followers, the previous issue number 3, there was an interview with Matt Howarth in that one. Issue number 4 of Canon is out as well too. When that comes in the mail, we'll do a video where we kind of have a look through it. I'll see if maybe Colin's around. I don't know if you're here in the chat, Colin, or if you're going to watch this later. But if you want to do a stream, maybe we can do a little live chat about this newest issue and kind of plans going forward. So this looks like classic Howarth stuff here. His kind of pointillist, almost not quite there images. It really does. He uses it so well for this layering. Like, that's a really great panel. Pushes that stuff really into the background and gives it almost like a fog over top of it. It's really nice stuff. So always great to dig into some Howarth. So looking forward to that one. So that is that's Domes. And then to kind of cut to the rest of it here, let's put that over there. I don't remember why this was on my list. This is Broid issue number 1 from Eternity Comics. I don't remember where I heard of this. I don't know if it was Kayfabe Guys or if it was someone here on YouTube, but this is kind of like a double-sized issue. Created by Lensman artist Tim Eldred. And this is Eternity Comics from 1990. Manga inspired, I guess. But I know absolutely nothing about this. They only had this one issue in. Maybe they had one of the other ones. I don't remember. But I figured I'd give it a shot. This was kind of the $2.50 kind of range. This was one of the cheaper ones. It looks good on kind of a very, very quick flip through. I'm curious about this for sure. One of those books with Eternity where I'm assuming that this is something that was created for Eternity. Eternity has a lot of comics that have come out where they were kind of reprints of other stuff, so I don't know all the backstory on this one either, so maybe I'll dig around online, see what I can find of this, but that's Broid. Next we have Renee French, one-shot, Corny's Fetish, Brian Boland cover on one side, and a Pete Bagg cover on the other side. This is from Dark Horse. We've talked about, hello, Jackio, how you doing? We talked about Renee French before on the channel a number of times. She had some stuff in Dark Horse Presents, and then also a mini-series. And of course, I'm live, so I'm blanking on all the names. It looks great, as always. She's a very odd and unique artist. Really looking forward to seeing what the hell this is about. The other stuff has its kind of deviancy and kind of grotesque nature. This one looks kind of cleaner than the other stuff that I've seen from her. It's very recognizable as her style, but there's something a little different about it. So makes me a little nervous because I wonder if that the clean line is disguising a truly disturbing story on another level. So I'm looking forward to reading that. One of the books that I'd never heard of until I kind of did a search for her name, and this popped up. So a really great Boland cover there too. Take a look at that. Pete Bagg. There was a neat stuff issue with the guy watching his neighbors that was really goddamn funny. So it's kind of reminiscent of that. So there you go, Renee French. Speaking of Pete Bagg, I only need one more of the annuals to complete all of that run. The annuals notoriously difficult to get a hold of when they were coming out. They were put out so sporadically, and comic shops around here just weren't getting them in. So we get a Buddy Bradley tale when he's full kind of sailor mode still. So I think this is when he owns a junkyard, I think is what happens at this stage of the story. But he's got this eye patch and his hat. His sailor's hat there. So it looks like there's a full color Buddy Bradley story. And then there's some strips as well here. Some black and white Batboy strips. Batboy was a strip that appeared in, was it Weekly World News? Is that what it was called? So I'm guessing that these are just reprints from the stuff that appeared in that newspaper, quote unquote newspaper. And then what else is in here? East Coast, West Coast, blah, blah, blah. Some typical bi-coastal comparing and contrasting by Pete Bagg, 2005. And then we get a final kind of color strip from him as well, too. Looking forward to this. Yeah, like I said, just need one more of the annuals to finish up this entire run of Hate comics. And, of course, the new one coming out as well here. The next issue comes out right away, I think. So that's going to be great. This is issue number 7 of that annuals. Another one shot. This is the Jam special. I think part of this was reprinted in something I already have, but this is kind of almost double thickness as well too. So I imagine it's going to contain a bunch of other stuff. 1987 Bernie Moreau. I think this was maybe the first. Was this the first Jam story? I don't know if Jared is watching sometime in the future, but I feel like this was some earlier stuff. I can never remember the order of when these things came out as far as what was first. Jackio, I've been buying from My Comic Shop for decades. Started ordering there in the 80s. Amazing. I think they were called Lone Star Comics back then. Yeah, I think they're still called Lone Star now. It's just the website is mycomicshop.com. So I always end up calling it that. But oh no, on the website it says mycomicshop.com as well too. So, but I think a lot of people still call it Lone Star. The ads were in the comics. Yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic website. I love, I've done it a million times. You just sit and build carts and browse through the site. I can spend a good hour or two just browsing through the site and following links of who's what and who's where and who's put what out. One of the things that I do love about them is when you click on when you find a title, they'll have kind of the company that put it out. And if you click on that link, you can also find everything that they're carrying from that publishing company or stuff they have carried. Really, really great for that kind of thing. So really looking forward to this. I really dig the jam. The jam is really fucking good stuff. Hello, Jeff. I just discovered My Comic Shop just this week. How weird. Yeah, it's strange how that happens. It's a great discovery, though. Did you end up ordering anything, or did you just kind of look at it? Very excited to fill in a whole bunch of gaps in my Jim Henson Storyteller. Shout out to Pops Comics. Everyone knows that I'm a huge fan of this. I'm so excited to fill out the runs. So I think this is the last issue that I needed from the Dragons miniseries. There was a whole bunch of miniseries, all of them 4 issues, all of them done by different writers and artists. This particular issue is Hannah Christensen is who's in this one. These ones I haven't looked through. Looks beautiful. And every single one has been a hit. I don't think there's been an issue that's been a dud for me. There's been some issues that I've liked more than others for sure, but I've enjoyed every single issue. So like I said, I'm pretty sure this is the last issue I need from the Dragons miniseries. So I grabbed that. And then I got what I think is I might need one more from the Ghosts one, but I picked up, this is Ghosts number 3 of 4. Michael Walsh is the creator on this particular issue. Oh, beautiful. Yes, great stuff. I'm so looking forward to reading these. These will be read tonight for sure. So look at that. So we'll probably, if Rasa and I are able to kind of get our acts together and lined up this weekend, I'll probably talk about these on Sunday if we're back for a chat. So that's Witches. And the one that cost a lot, I don't know why this series, this 4-issue series, I didn't have any of the issues, and for some reason it's really hard to find. And these were the ones that were about $7 or $8 a piece, which again is more than I usually like to pay for some of these things. But I'm not sure what the story is and to why this series is so expensive. Did they print less? I'm not really sure, because this isn't the first series out of the gate. I don't remember what the first series was, but I think this was a year or two into them doing this book. So I got all 4 issues of Giants because they had them all at once, and I figured I should jump on them. Connor Nolan for this first one here. Oh man, gorgeous. Gorgeous, man. Look at this. It's beautiful. So they're all kind of folk tales from around the world, and obviously each series is kind of what the stories are going to be about for every single issue. So we'll see what that's like. So that's issue number 1. Issue number 2 of Giants by Brandon Dayton. The Tailor's Daughter by Brandon Dayton. A lot of these, I'm assuming all of them have also been collected into hardcovers as well, if you see those out there. I think we got one of them for my daughter. Fairies, probably we have for my daughter up in her bookshelf there. So if you can't find the single issues, or if you do see them and they're a little expensive, just know that they are out there in other formats as well. Issue number 3 by Jared Cullum. Sorry, I'll get to your chats questions there in a second. So there's that one. Oh, beautiful. Dude, so nice. So good. Yeah. And this one, I love this cover. This is issue number 4 of 4 of the Giants run, and it's by Feifei Ruan, I think is how you pronounce the name. Beautiful looking stuff there. Let's have a look. Oh, man. Gorgeous, gorgeous. That's beautiful. Is the whole thing? Yeah, the whole thing. Holy shit, dude. So I wonder if it's just what the popular series from the run, which is why it's why the prices were so high on these ones. But they're all in beautiful shape too. They're all pretty much brand new, like they've never been read. So that's an added bonus. Let's see. That publisher search is so good for finding cool stuff. It really is, like finding a publisher that you dig some titles from and then just digging to see what else they've got and having that laid out the way that they do. And for the most part, 98% of them, you can see at least the cover image is really, really great to kind of discover some new titles. I'm trying to complete my collection of Cages and Promethea and found the site. Amazing. Promethea has some hard to find issues, especially the last few. Very good story. And that's also the bonus of that website. You can put stuff on a wish list if you make an account there, and then you can get notified. And for those of you in the States where I'm assuming there's some sort of free shipping at some point, I'm not sure if there still is, but at least the shipping is cheaper for you. So you can jump on and just buy a couple of issues. For me, I like to make sure that there's a lot of stuff to really make it worth my while. Hello, Vizio, Bellwitch. Yes, thank you very much. Fortunate enough to see them live, me and my son. Really, really great. I want all those now. Maybe some trades. Yeah, like I said, I'm pretty sure they all came out just in hardcover. I don't think they did soft cover of the storyteller stuff. It would be great. That would be a great candidate for kind of an omnibus size collection, I think. Archaea is the company, if I didn't mention it, that puts all this stuff out. I think they also did the Jim Henson Dark Crystal books as well too, because there was a couple of mini series of Dark Crystal stuff. And then the other mini series that I finished was Connie and Kazoo, by Matt Howarth. I only had the first issue. This is Antarctic Press from what year? 1994. So I really dug that first issue. When I find miniseries out there in the wild, I don't normally buy just one issue if they don't have the whole thing. But this was one when you see Howarth, it feels like you've just got to pick up whatever you can find. So I'm really looking forward to digging back into this series. Really fun stuff. Great art, as always. Some sci-fi kind of. These guys are kind of like they're sort of criminals, low-level criminals and con artists. So pretty entertaining stories. So that's issue number 2, and then there's issue number 3, and a great wraparound cover for issue number 4. Is this even Howarth on the cover? It looks like him, but doesn't at the same time. Let's see if there's any credits for anything. It doesn't say, so I'm assuming that it's Howarth, but there's a look at that wraparound cover. It has some Ninja Turtles vibes of the buildings especially, and kind of that grittiness. So good. So good. Looking forward to this one. Yeah, Starcrossed. That's exactly right. You got it. From the Helix Comics. Yes, that is exactly who it is. So that finishes off that run. And I think that's the beautiful thing about using MyComicShop is finishing off these runs. And another run finisher, this is Lycanthrope Leo, issue number 7, the only one that I was looking for. There's quite a few Viz that I see in boxes, but it's one of those things that there's always 1 or 2 issues that I just never come across. And this is one that I've been looking for a while to finish it off and just haven't found it. Always find the same kind of few issues. I was really liking this story a lot. High school kid who kind of has his lineage is werewolves. And there's another group of people that their kind of duty is to kill these werewolves. So pretty action-packed and bloody and violent. Looking forward to this one. Kengo Kaji, and art by Kenji Okamura. Just the credits there on the back. So that finishes that off. How can I say no to another marquee? But now it's one of the things when I opened it up and started looking, I'm not sure if I have this one and just didn't update my list properly. I might already have this one. I'm not 100% sure. There was parts that sort of looked familiar and then parts that just didn't. This is Guy Davis. If you know Guy Davis and you don't know the marquee, honestly, do yourself a favor and hunt this stuff down. It isn't the easiest stuff to find. There was collections out there as well too, but it is so worth your time. This is such a good book. I've loved every single issue. I love his style. I love kind of the contrast on the page with this real black cloaked figure running through the panels. Of course, Guy Davis has a lot of amazing grit and texture to his art and a lot of great monster and creature designs. And you kind of get all of that in this book. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Really, really good. One of those characters that, man, do I wish that there was like 100 more of these, that this series went on and kind of caught on like a Hellboy. I feel like this could really go places if he would have kept up with it and maybe not got sidetracked with some other stuff. Incredibly excited to find these books. Very, very hard to find. Incredibly hard to get my hands on these. I've been looking for these forever. This is the first Night of the Living Dead miniseries. It was a 4-issue miniseries from Fantaco. And let me make sure that I get the credits right. The reason that I grabbed this is because of the artist. Carlos Castro is the name of the artist. This is from 1991. I've read a few of these digitally. I can't even find these digitally, all of the issues digitally out there on SoulSeek and stuff. So I've had these on a wish list for a long time, and every once in a while, one of them will pop up. This was another one that was a bit pricey. I think these were around the $7-8 range as well, too. Let's have a look, actually. I've got the page open here. Yeah, $7.20. I only got 2 of the issues because that's all that they had in stock of the 4. So I just grabbed what they had. They're sort of they're this square bound format, but Carlos Castro's work is gorgeous. The one that really struck me is the London miniseries that came after this. His art in there is the next level. This is still really great art from him, but there's something extra captivating about his art in that London series, and really kind of horrific and gritty. So good. So I'm very excited to have at least 2 of these issues of this Night of the Living Dead. So that's that issue, and then there's issue 2 there. So incredible goddamn covers as well too. So yeah, keeping my eyes out for more of these. And there you go. So from what I understand, these are kind of just a retelling of the first movie. First movie is one of my favorite horror movies. Really, really impactful. So I think this is pretty much just a straight retelling of that first movie done in comics form. So like, check that shit out side by side. That's beautiful. Amazing stuff. And the other thing they had from this series, after that one ended, there was a one-shot called The Aftermath. Very, very thin book. Again, a tough one to find. This thing that I would pick up regularly for that price, but with that trade credit, it makes it a lot easier to kind of splurge to pick up some books and fill in those gaps. So this one this is the follow-up to that first series. And right after this issue is when we get into the London Night of the Living Dead London series. So this one is from 1992. And again, it's Carlos Castro, Tom Scullin on the story there, lettering by Mary Kelleher. Again, from Fantaco on this one as well. So amazing stuff. Looking forward. I've never been able to find this one digitally at all. So I've never read this one. Looking forward to it. One that a word of warning, I guess. I probably didn't look closely at this. Yeah, it was graded as a good. Let me open up the link to see if it had said anything. It doesn't now because it says that it is sold, but I don't remember. I'm kind of disappointed in this one, kind of disappointed in myself, to be honest. This is incredibly water damaged. So this is a Fantaco series that I've been curious about too. I think it was Colin that told me about this one, Night's Children. Wendy Snow Lang's Night's Children. This was a 4-issue miniseries. They only had the 2nd issue in. Yeah, Jesus, look at that. That page is even stuck together. Yeah, I'm disappointed in this one quite a bit. I'm assuming that MyComicShop said that there was some water damage to it, and I just didn't read it closely enough. I put the blame on myself. But this one is, if I would have known it was this bad, I wouldn't have spent, I think it was $2 on this one. $2.50 on this one. I wouldn't have spent the $2.50 on it. That's too far gone even for me. And you saw there at the beginning, the page was stuck together. So I'm a little bummed out about this one. So I won't put this one into my CLZ. I'll probably keep my eyes open for a replacement copy of this one. I mean, at least I'll have something to read. Her art is beautiful. I've seen her in some probably Gore Shriek. She probably appeared in some Gore Shriek, but she also did some other Fantaco stuff too. Great style, very dark style. So just be mindful, I guess, when you're ordering from MyComicShop, maybe don't go down to the good level. Even if the price is right, it's maybe not worth the gamble. Dave Cooper series from Aircell called Power, or The Power rather. One that I didn't have. I'm a little bummed if I would have waited one more week. Puke and Explode issue number 2 is available on MyComicShop right now, or at least it was yesterday. And I've been looking for that 2nd issue forever. It's really hard to find. It's never available. So I kind of wish I would have waited one more week to throw that on there. This was a 4-issue miniseries as well. And it's April 1991. So this is number 2 of 4. And this is still kind of back in the Dave Cooper, where his style is still kind of developing into what he became. You can absolutely see that it's him. It's sort of in that transition period. And it was a title that I hadn't heard of before. So really glad to see this one. And at least be able to grab one issue from the infamous Aircell. And after a long shout out to Daryl D TV, after a long wait, I finally completed the Rip in Time. I've got a collection that collects all of the issues, but with this Fantagore Press, which was Corbin's own publishing company. I want to get the single issues as well too. So for some reason, this has been impossible to find out there in the bins, even though I see this title multiple times out there. For some reason, issue number 4 was extremely difficult to get a hold of. So very, very glad to have this in my hands. One of the main reasons to get this in floppy format is kind of the back matter and the letters and the kind of note from the editor, note from Corbin himself, kind of the information that he talks about, things he talks about in terms of self-publishing are always really interesting. He has a really great letters page. So that's also what makes it worth hunting down these single issues for all of that stuff alone. This one, black and white. This wasn't one of my favorite Corbin stories from the other issues that I've read, but again, the completest. You got to have everything, especially when it comes to Corbin. You can't possibly pass it out. And another one, very happy to finally finish at least part 1. This is Sanctuary, books 8 and book 9. So this completes the first kind of chapter, I guess, of Sanctuary. I have been loving this book. So I'm very excited to have these. And they're kind of double-sized issues as well, too. These are 1992. Gorgeous art, really great story. These two guys that have kind of made a pact from when they were young. One was going to go into politics and one was going to go into crime. They were going to rise the ranks in both of those so they could join forces and kind of take control of the city. It was kind of, I think it came down to basically a coin toss as to who was going to go where. But it's such a good, such a good goddamn book. I'm very excited to have this, at least this first part, finished. I think there might have been 5 different volumes, I think. So that's issue 8, and then there's issue 9 there. And another one I've been looking for forever and a day. Another one that's impossible to find for some reason. There was this Strange Tales. There was a couple of Strange Tales series that came out. I think both of the volumes were just 2 issues. Or this was 3 issues, so maybe they were both 3 issues. What year do we have on this one? 2010 on this one. So in this issue, we got Pete Bagg, Nick Bertozzi, Jeffrey Brown, Max Cannon, Chris Chua, Becky Cloonan, Paul Hornschmeyer, Michael Cooperman, Jonathan J. Lee, Corey Lewis, Stan Sakai, and Jay Stevens. And so just an anthology, a Strange Tales anthology done by kind of alternative and independent cartoonists. There's the Stan Sakai story right off the bat. They're a lot of fun. This one, the Pete Bagg story in this one is the Hulk issue, or the Hulk story. There was one of the issues had a couple of different covers that Pete Bagg did, one with a green Hulk and one with a red Hulk. Even those 2 were easier to find than this issue for some reason. So I'm just putting it off to, there was probably a low print run on this one. Maybe it wasn't as popular. But I'm so glad to finally have this complete. I've been looking forever for this one. Just never is out there in the bins. Who is this here? Maybe someone there will recognize it, but I love the look of this one. I don't recognize the artist, though, on that one. But that looks pretty damn fun. Let's get to the... Yeah, here we go. So there's the Pete Bagg doing his Hulk story in all his Pete Bagg goodness, ridiculous poses and making faces. So looking forward to that one as well. And last but absolutely not least, this was the book that I decided to make the order. This one came up and I had to grab it. I've wanted to get into the Fantagraphics Usagi Yojimbo. So they had the first volume, the first trade paperback come. This was the one. This was $38 American is what they had priced on this. And if it was just my money, I probably wouldn't have jumped on it. But having that credit, because I think I had about $80 credit, somewhere around there, $70 to $80. So it makes it a lot easier to just throw this in a cart and not even think about it. I'm so incredibly excited to have this. I cannot wait to dig in this. So it's a smaller format graphic novel. I don't have a actual, everything that beside me here is kind of odd sized. Here we go. Here's something. So just to kind of compare it to Street Angel there. So it's just about as wide, a tiny bit narrower and a little bit shorter there. But this is going to be phenomenal. I cannot wait. So this has got 10 stories in it. I don't know if, I don't think each story was one issue, because the first story is only 10 pages, but there's your table of contents there. But it's the first few issues anyway. Does it say on the back? No, it doesn't. It might say inside. But anyway, this is from... Oh, this is the second edition. 1988. Interesting. Let's see. Oh, well now. Fantagraphics first edition, volume 1, first printing. Interesting. So they've mislabeled this. So on when I pull up the listing itself that I bought from my invoice, they're saying that it's the first printing, and inside here it clearly says second printing. So maybe I will get in touch with them and see if maybe they'll give me some credit. Even if they don't, I'm happy to pay the price on this one. So one of the very first story in here is the one that was also colorized in Doomsday Squad. And then they also did a modern version of it too, just recently. They did an updated, or Stan, sorry, not they. Stan Sakai did an updated version of this story. So I cannot wait to sit and dig into this. I really enjoy this era of Usagi Yojimbo. I like his art. I love his art now, but I really like the looks of it here. All the characters are a little shorter and squatter. Their heads are a little bit bigger, almost that kind of like chibi type of style. But I'm really looking forward to reading this. This is very exciting to have, and it's in beautiful shape. Like, this is in immaculate shape, almost brand new condition. And even the spine, when I open up the pages, it doesn't look like it's splitting at all. So an added bonus. I'd love to get these collections. Obviously, I'd love to have these issues of Usagi Yojimbo, the Fantagraphics stuff, but those are near impossible to come by. I maybe have one or two of them. You just don't see them out there, or at least I don't see the Fantagraphics stuff out there at all. Eventually, this went on to Dark Horse. They kind of continued the numbering when they were reprinting stuff and just kind of carried on. And then I think they also did some Dark Horse versions of this stuff as well, too, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Yes, so in 1987 is when these were coming out, and then in 2022, Dark Horse did a version of this, and I'm assuming they did it at kind of this regular graphic novel size, is what it probably has there. So this one says it's... oh, no, it doesn't. Yeah, so volumes 1 to 7 published by Fantagraphics, volume 8 and up published by Dark Horse. So beautiful. Very, very excited about that. That's going to be an absolutely killer read. I got that when it came out and got it signed by Sakai when he came to town. That's amazing. A signed copy. That's very cool. That's it. That's what I got. That's what I picked up. Thanks very much for hanging out for this 40 minutes. I couldn't wait. I was going to do a stream later on tonight and look at these books, but I figured, I've got some time now before we sit down for dinner. I figured I'd do a quick live stream. So hang around this weekend. Hopefully we'll be back. I'll probably be back on Sunday for a weekly chat. When Canon comes in, I'll be sure to do some sort of video, whether it's with Colin or myself. I'll do some sort of video where we look at that brand new issue. If you want to order a copy of Canon, make sure that you follow Colin, Loading the Canon. You can follow him on Twitter. You can find him on Instagram. You can probably find him on Blue Sky, I think, and get an order in for that newest issue. Eliza, hello. Great video as always. Good grabs, even with those couple of disappointments. Yeah, that one is a bigger disappointment. We'll see what they say about this one. This, like I said, if they don't want to give me any credit on this, I'm kind of fine paying what I paid for it. I don't think it's a deal breaker, but be careful, I guess, when you're reading the MyComicShop stuff. Just really read the descriptions if they have one. They don't always have a little description, but make sure that you're reading the listing and make sure that you're really understanding their grading. And when they say minor water damage, assume that it's major water damage. Don't kind of err on the side of they're underselling it, that they're overstating it. They're probably understating it. So just be mindful of that stuff. But honestly, in the whole time I've been ordering from them, it's pretty rare that I have any complaints. They do some of the best packaging I've ever seen of books. I find for the most part, their prices are good. But again, I'm looking for books specifically to fill in gaps and maybe stuff that's a little harder to find. So I'm not so worried about spending that little extra money, considering the deals that I find around here locally sometimes for this stuff. I feel like it balances out in the long run to maybe pay a little bit more from a website versus kind of waiting for years to find it in a dollar bin locally, which sometimes happens, but not often. So right on, everybody. Thanks very much, and we'll talk to you.